Welcome to the show, Whitney Lyman. You are a singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist, having toured across the US and Europe and on Jimmy Kimmel Live as a featured vocalist with Grammy-nominated Odesza. You've also fronted as lead vocalist and arranger for Seattle Rock Orchestra, and in May this year you're performing at the Focus Wales Festival in the UK. Your musical influences are a blend of traditional world folk, indie rock and baroque chamber music, to name just a few. You've released a number of solo tracks, your latest being the track called Floating. It's brilliant to have you on the show with us, Whitney. Thank you so much for joining us. Please do tell us more.
Yes, hello. Thank you for the introduction. That was very welcoming. Yes, I am performing at Focus Wales in May, and I'll be doing some solo performances as well as working with some actually musicians from the UK and from Wales. So it'll be a nice blending and bringing the countries together as well. And representing my music over there will be really exciting.
Yeah, good stuff.
You know, I've also been very influenced by, of course, the classic rock, especially. I'm a huge fan of like Queen, David Bowie, the Beatles, all, of course, British artists. So it's been a huge influence for me as well.
Yeah. We've also got Jeff Lieberman here on the show with us here. So you can tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeff, or Whitney, if you want to tell us a little bit about what Jeff does for you.
Hello, this is Jeff Lieberman. I manage Whitney Lyman. Met Whitney a few years ago. Was at a thing called the NAMM convention in Anaheim, California.
Okay. Yeah.
I was there with a prominent songwriter, Alan Roy Scott, and he went to his symposium of songwriters because he had a friend that was doing a speaking engagement of it. And I went into Mackey, saw Whitney Lyman, had a gut feeling, stayed there 7.5 minutes, got her business card and got her CD, and called her the next day and said, let's go for this. Let's make this happen.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and Jeff has been, even though that was actually at the NAMM convention in 2020, in January, right before everything kind of shut down for a while. It was good that we made that connection, and we were still able to kind of start working on things from behind the scenes. And now we've got momentum going. We've got a lot of things going. So he helps with everything from booking and, you know, reaching out to all these different people and helping to just get my music out there. And it's really made a big shift in my career, just having someone on your team who supports you.
You got to have it.
Absolutely.
So are you going to do some of your social conscious music when you come over here?
I would say the new music coming out, I would say it always has a positive spin on it. And when it comes to lifting each other up and kind of being there for each other and getting through tough times, that's you know, obviously appropriate for this day and age too. I mean, that's what probably I went through to write these songs, and a lot of people are going through those kind of things. So I do feel that it can connect to a lot of people, and it's thinking a little more outside of yourself, right? Socially conscious.
Yes. What's one of the songs you're going to showcase?
Well, of course, my new single, Floating, which actually I wrote at the beginning of the lockdown, and it's just about lifting each other up and kind of being there for each other when, you know, you thought you were alone and you're not. And I'm definitely doing another song, which is my next single coming out, Don't Carry the Weight. Okay. So as from the title, you can tell it's just like letting go of that heaviness that everybody puts on each other. We don't need to hold on to those things.
What exactly does that look like?
It's hard to explain, but I think it's looking at yourself really and what makes you truly happy rather than what somebody else expects of you or wants from you.
Yeah.
And doing that and really listening to your own heart also helps not just yourself, but it helps everyone else too, because you're living in your authentic self, you know?
Yeah. And the music part of it, what's the stream of the music?
I'd say it's a pretty good mix of pop and rock, and of course I have always like orchestral elements, very inspired by that from in my experience with orchestras and always writing arrangements for and string quartets and stuff like that. So I find the strings and those sounds to be inspiring. And to me, if I'm going to share this music out there, I want to be able to inspire people in some ways.
Yeah. You know, I produced a lot of vocalists, and I asked them to sing the song with just the piano and then just the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can see which one is, you know, overpowering what they're doing to their tone. Do you know what I'm saying? And what you're telling me is you like strings.
I do, but that's how all my songs start, is just me with a piano or a guitar. Sometimes just the voice, just the melody pops into my singing this over and over until I find what chords would go with it or something. And I think that's it. The melody is the most important thing to me. As a singer, just as a vocalist, it's what you can grab onto and it sticks with you. And if it keeps sticking with me, popping into my own head, and I'm like, I swear, if that's not another song I've heard somewhere, this is a new song that needs to be in existence. So
I'm gonna ask you a crazy question, because we're both songwriters, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever dream music?
I have definitely dreamed music before. One of the most memorable times was a song that it ended up on my first album a long time ago, called Wandering. But the song Lost at Sea, it had this amazing dream. And I was just like hearing choirs of angels singing and seeing this beautiful sunset across the ocean.
You saw it all. Yeah.
I wish I could create the visuals too, but which I should do that eventually. But that was the first time, like, I really remember those, choral sounds and those big rolling sounds. And I tried to recreate that as best as I could on that song. And I think I got pretty close.
It's been times where, like, I go to sleep, right? And I can hear a bass line or something like that. And then now I got to get up, and it's like 2:00 in the morning or whatever. And I'm still done. I'm trying to figure it out because I ain't got no instruments there, right? And I'm trying to figure it out. And if it sticks with me after I go back to sleep, then I know I was on to something, right?
Exactly.
Those melodies are amazing. If you can get a melody in your head. See, for many years, I just wrote lyrics and melody and produced backgrounds. So somebody else was writing the music, which is 50% of the song, right? And I would go to musicians and say, hey, man, give me some of your tracks when you melody exhausted on, when you played everything, you know what I mean? A lot of those guys don't write lyrics. They can hear a lot of instrumental stuff and they want to put it to lyrics. And I do that in my shows. I say, everybody that writes lyrics, raise your hand. Boom. Everybody just write music, raise your hand. I'll be back in 20 minutes. Go meet each other. And it starts relationships, right? As some singers were scared to ask, you know what I mean? Like, ask these guys for their music, and then you write the melody on top of it and put a story on top of that.
I love doing that, actually, because, I don't know, it's just fun. You can sing over anything, pretty much.
Yeah. See, that was the crazy thing where I didn't conform to getting a record deal because I'm a singer. If you just start playing some music and I sing over it, you can call it whatever you want to. You know what I'm saying? These business people, what are you? Well, I'm me. and you always want to be that way. Because when I lived in Hollywood, you never wanted to walk into an office and they go, well, who do you sound like? And if you give them anybody, they go, we already got that. What else you got?
Yeah.
That's true.
So true. So true.
I sound like Stevie Wonder. Well, he's still living.
Yes, still around. still creating music. So, yeah.
You know what I mean? So never go in there and say, I sound like somebody else.
Yeah.
You go in. That's a good point.
Yeah, I sound like me,
I always struggle to describe who else I sound like. And I think that's a good thing. I sound like Whitney Lyman,
That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
And if you go in talking like that, that's when they know you're an artist, right?
Yes.
That's the difference between a star and an artist.
True.
A star is somebody you make. They go find the songs for them, to go find the clothes for them, all that. It's a star, right? But an artist is everything. That's what you need to be as an artist. Don't tell nobody you sound like anybody else. I love your sound. I listen to your voice and I go, that's a beautiful tone that you have. It's a gift, right?
Thank you.
Now forever is all about finding the right song with your gift.
Yes, exactly.
It's like acting. You still got to find the right actor. You can be a great director, but you still got to find the right actor to pull it off, right?
You got to find the right role for the actor. Yes.
That's right. I know Tom's got 1,000 questions for you. So
I have got 1,000 questions. What I'm going to do is bundle this one into one question, a couple of things. I just want to talk, Whitney, a little bit with you about your inspiration for the songs that you come up with, and also the process that you personally go through when you create those. Obviously, you're an instrumentalist yourself. Do you create the music first and then add the lyrics, or have you got the lyrics in mind and then you kind of build the music around it? Tell us a little bit about that process.
Yes, that's a great question. It could be a mix of a lot of those things that you just said. A lot of the times, like I mentioned earlier, if a certain melody pops into my head or just a phrase and I can't get it out of my head and I just keep repeating it and singing it, that can sometimes start a whole song. And then I'll later find those chords or find what goes with it, which I love it when that happens because I already know it's a strong melody. But another way to get the inspiration for a melody is, if I'm just noodling around on the guitar or the piano, usually comes when I'm trying to practice something else. And then I'm like, wait, I really have to just do this right now. And then it'll it's almost like I get distracted, but in fact, that's what I'm there for, So, I'll kind of flesh that out, like first with a piano or guitar and just my voice. And then I like to build it from there. So I'll often hear, what kind of drums I want, what kind of sounds, especially when it comes to the orchestration. And I'm branching out to build that even further. And then if I'm dreaming big, I want this to be a full orchestration. Like that dream I had, I'm like, no, it has to be this. And also, I'm exploring with, just collaborating with different people and getting their expertise. What would you add to this? Like, what would make this, even better? So I like that aspect too.
Right.
And one more way that I write is when I'm collaborating with other people. If they send me, like a producer sends me a track, I'll, sing a top line.
Yeah.
Come up with lyrics and melody and harmonies on top of that, which is, sometimes it's easy because you've got a template and you can just see what strikes you. When it comes to lyrics, it's really about a feeling. Like, what does this feel like when I sing this? It's an emotion. So I try to tap into what emotion is being brought up in a sense and try to translate that. Or, if I just have a little phrase in my head, try to how am I going to tell this story in a way?
For many years I'd go to parties, right, and they're having conversations all over the party in different groups, and I would see how many people gravitate to that conversation, and it becomes a topic, and I put it in my mental Rolodex, and then I write all these titles down from topics that I've been hearing. And so when I go get music and I say, hey man, give me that when you melody exhaustion, I might just take a little piece of the music, not the whole thing, and write. Now, what I do is, because I don't listen to the radio, right? I take those tracks that my friends give me, and I got all these titles, and I had them on my seat over here, right? And I would start singing a melody, right, over somebody else's tracks. And I look over there and I sing a title to all these conversations, right? And I found that if you do the title, that's the chorus of the song. If you start there, it doesn't have to start right at the chorus, but the chorus has got to be strong, because that's the part where the average person that can't sing can sing. The main thing is like you said, is really important, because when you get a melody in your head and you can't get it out, write the chorus to that melody.
Mhm.
And when I used to teach writing, I said, your verse is your opinion about the chorus.
Mhm.
So it's the last thing you say between your verse and your chorus. It's gotta be like, oh, I knew you was gonna say that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And actually, the way I like to think of it too is the bridge is like, okay, what is the point I'm trying to make of this whole song? Like, get to
Summing it up. Yeah.
sum it up.
Sum it up in the bridge.
You know, it doesn't have to be every song, but that's usually what happens.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways, you know. The only thing is they're usually around 4 minutes. So there's a formula that you sing to get to that 4 minutes. But get through the song. Don't have the verse too long, right? Because that's just your opinion. Get right to that hook. And if they start singing that melody that you fell in love with that you wrote, right? That's what you want in the first place.
Russ Regan would always say, chorus, double chorus, and hook within 7 to 10 seconds. Am I right?
Well, it's like they're all in 8 bars, right?
Right.
You know, you do the first 8 bars, then you do another 8 bars for the hook, and then another 8 bars for the verse again, and then after that you do a double hook, right? There's so many ways, and it's how you start it out. You can start it out with the verse, yeah, but you want to get to the hook because that's the part that everybody sings.
It stays with you.
Yes. You know what I mean? So come over here with some of them big hooks like that, right? You know what you're going to love is meeting a lot of people over here, because there's a lot of people over here who want to work with Americans. I love that concept because we can all write with each other. We have the internet now. You know, you don't have to be in the same studio at the same time. This one song I just finished, the drummers in Germany, there's a keyboard player from Ghana, there's another keyboard player from Salzburg, the bass player and guitar player, they're over in Australia. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
That's music for global change right there.
Yep.
That is amazing.
And we can do that. And I want you to meet some people on this side, and then you collaborate with them on that. The cool thing is, how about this? Because you know, you got your own fans. So if we write a tune together, you can go, hey, guys, I want to introduce you to my buddy, Skyler. You know, we did a song together. He's from America. See, I love that because everybody's saying different countries. Oh, we're doing with you. And the fan base gets bigger that way. They go tell all their friends about you that never would have heard of you before, right?
I love collaborating with people. I've worked on songs with someone from Czech Republic, someone in Paris, people in Paris, people in England, you know, the UK. Also, one of my co-writers is Alan Roy Scott, which Jeff mentioned. And he's a major songwriter from back in the day. He worked in Motown. He's worked with Cher and Celine Dion and like Luther Vandross. And he started these songwriting camps. He worked with, you know, Cyndi Lauper, Desmond Child, and Diane Warren at these camps all over the world. But he's still doing this in different countries all over the world, and kind of started this whole thing that people now are doing all the time. So it's really cool to be, you know, working with someone like that. And he lives in Sweden now. So I have some more of these global connections.
Do more of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because people start talking about you on the other side of the world, and then all of a sudden the United States goes, oh.
That's like the Jimi Hendrix effect, you know.
That's when he got bigger back home. Marvin Gaye did the same thing, and there's a lot of them. They come over here because, you know, they ain't getting all the love that they need at home, and you come over here, you just look at the numbers. There's 330 million Americans, and there's 960 million Europeans.
It's very true. Getting back to Alan Roy Scott, I spoke with him about you. He's heard your name, and he said, I would love to have a conversation with Skyler. He's really the godfather that started the whole songwriting camps around the world. He's been to over 152 countries around the world.
There's only about 35% of Americans that have a passport. They don't go anywhere. You know what I mean?
No.
And you're supposed to go. You're supposed to go and see the rest of the world. You can't be the TV. That's more than the TV.
It's very true. And what you're doing is just amazing. It is collaborating around the world and to make a social change. And we do need to have music. Really is the soul. It's number one that integrates with people around the world.
Well, let's make it happen. This movement that we've created is really cool because I love that we can all collaborate with each other from everywhere, right? That's music for global change, right? It just doesn't happen in the States. Why not open it up to the rest of the world? Music ain't just for somebody, it's for everybody.
Yep.
Listen, man, you guys, thank you so much.
I want to just get your info as far as any kind of social media outlets that you're on. How can people see what it is you're doing and catch up with what you're about, Whitney?
Yeah, I have a website, whitneylyman.com, that has where you can find all this information and links to my social medias, which I have on Instagram at Whitney_Lyman, and Twitter, X, as well as Facebook, Whitney Lyman Music. Plenty of information out there. And I also have a YouTube. So feel free to check out. And
what I'll do as well then is put the links to all this in the description of the video as well for people that want to go off and see what you
What's the date that you're at the festival?
When is it?
I'll be performing May 9th through 11th, and I have 5 different performances they can catch. Okay. And you can go to Focus Wales website to find all the information. It's also on my calendar on my website for May. So.
Much love to you guys. Thanks for taking the time to come on the show.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Really, really cool. Really, really cool. Thanks so much for coming on.
Take care, guys.
Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. To stay up to date, please click subscribe and hit the bell. You can also join our group on Facebook and find us on LinkedIn and Instagram.